Okay, guys, welcome back to class. It's week 4, day 1. Thank you for not quitting on me, everyone. This week is what?
React.
Yay! We're gonna learn React. React is fun. It's a lot of cool stuff. It's what's really hot right now. But before we do that, let's go ahead and look at our projects that we completed this week as a team. Okay, so I'm looking at, we're looking at what now, guys? We're looking at our Twitter clone. We can see that we can add tweets. Hi, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the tweets get added here. Is it responsive? I don't know. Looks amazing. It's pretty good. Some spacing that we need right here, but that's okay. It's hugging the border. Good job. Ooh, I can't delete my non-tweets that aren't mine. Can I like them? I can't like it yet? Down. Oh yeah, we do like it. Nice. Oh, we can retweet too? Nice. Can we see some console logs? Is there anything that you guys found particularly difficult on this project? Did that work? Did that work? Yes, it did work. What happens when I click it? It's okay to hard code things, okay? I promise you guys, you don't need to build a perfect app to build something dope. We got a bunch of links that don't go to the right place. If you guys see in the bottom left over here, we can see the actual URL. I don't know if you guys know that. But good job, yeah. Wait, did you actually, I forgot if you did the hashtag. I read your code this morning. I thought I saw something that did this. Didn't I? I could have sworn I saw something. Am I wrong? I could have sworn I saw one. Where's the one where you I don't think this is your newest code, because I could have sworn I saw this morning that I saw. Okay, what's the name of the function that puts the @ in? You know what I'm talking about? Fung? You did starts with.
Yeah, start with @ yeah. 11.
Starts with @? No, but a second ago I was reading your code earlier on GitHub and I saw that you made a different one. You didn't use char @ you used start @. You gonna make me go find this man? Where is it at? Interesting. Starts with @. I could have sworn I just saw one that you had like you had an if here where you also were checking for a hashtag. Or was that this group? Okay, my bad. Confused. Okay. So I would say overall good job. The functionality is there. But we got to delete some of these console logs, okay, guys? Guys, before you send your code to someone and tell them to look at it, please clean up your code, okay? Delete it if it doesn't work. I promise you, if it doesn't work, you can write more code that doesn't work. It's very easy to write code that does not work, okay? So just delete it and make it easier on the person who's reviewing your code. Because I got a bunch of stuff that's confusing me. Not confusing, but you know what I'm trying to say. It's making my life more difficult reading through this, okay? But yeah, I'm pretty impressed. I'm happy that you guys took a template and you messed around with it and you learned a lot, right? You guys learned a lot about how other people code by reading this, right? Remember, I told you guys this before. Your job is going to be to read other people's code. You'll never ever start a project on your own. Not never ever. Until you can prove that your pro is shit and can do everything on your own, no one's going to let you do it, okay? So, yeah, good work. I want to move quickly because I wanted us to get into React, okay? Let's give the first group a round of applause. Yes. And now we have bitter. Nice. Do I throw it? Damn. Ah, the link doesn't work.
If you click it, then scroll down.
What?
Click the hashtag again.
Okay, what I do? Click it?
The hashtag again. And it'll only show those that have that.
What? For real? That's exactly what the idea is. You filter, right?
Get that part.
Hi there. Hello world. You guys think about this? Nice. Nice. Come on, tell me about something I'm missing. I like the news here. This is adding more behavior. Good job. Okay.
Some responsiveness. Get down.
Nice.
Giant down.
A unicorn. Nice. So you guys get an idea of how much work it takes to build a mobile app responsive as well, right? And we haven't even asked you guys to build it for every single phone, every single screen size. There's medium screens, large screens, and extra large screens as well, right? You guys will notice that most like meaningful applications, they will resize across however many screens it is that you have, right? This one might be a little bit excessive. But anyway, it takes practice, guys, and that's what I hope you guys got from here. And I hope you guys, got a feel for how difficult it is. Let me look at this code. Okay, so this must be the one. So what it starts with? Okay, so we can see that Gwen here, using our tool, our Git lens right here. So you guys see Gwen with our Git lens is writing some dope code. You know, she evidently knows what split does. Yep, she knows what a map is. What's this thing right here, guys? What's word right here? It's an element. Yep, it's an element. We're mapping over it. We're looking for an @ or a hashtag. Okay. Remember the exercise I showed you guys. I walked you through my girlfriends, right? Make girlfriends happy. Depending on the girlfriend, we need to do something different. In this case, it wasn't a girlfriend. It was a word, right? All it was a word. We're gonna treat the words differently depending on what they start with, and from that we can create this complicated behavior where. Did I close it? Did I really close this? Fuck. Where we can filter, and we can also add these hashtags. You know, just as we demonstrated a second ago, we click hi there, we only see one. Why did the screen refresh? What the hell? Hi there, world. See, this works. Nice. Nice. So whenever we click hello world, we're filtering all of our tweets for words that have the correct or the corresponding hashtag. Good job. Pretty impressed. And it's also responsive. You guys can do it now. You guys, from now on, whenever you guys go to a job one day and you're looking at, whatever job you're looking at, and they say something along the lines of responsive, responsive, you guys can do it. Come on, man. Here we go. This job 2 minutes ago, Relia Software. They want, come on, man. What the fuck? Respawn. Okay, I don't know why it's popped up. IT Vic search, they need help with their search bar, okay? Can we find someone who can help us filter using code? It's quite difficult. All right, so thank you for your class. Thank you for your work, guys. I know it was hard. I hope you guys learned a lot. Let me give you a round of applause. Okay, so let's go ahead and move forward to what we're doing today in our class. Actually, before we do that, my bad, I forgot this one thing. Let's spend 5 minutes where you guys get together and talk about some of the challenges that you went through, and everyone plays their role. Because remember, almost no company will you just be going and writing code every single day. You get to have weekly meetings where you update people. It might be the product owner, it might be the CEO, it might be the client, right? If you're a consulting firm, you got to show the client what you built and explain what the challenges are, what else you need, etc. and etc. Okay? So let's spend 5 minutes and talk about our user stories. Did we do well? Could we have done more, etc. Okay?
I don't need like the project. Yeah, just one. Seems like there's enough ways to slice up a really figure out like edit more stuff. Laid out really dynamic with no
Typically, people talk about like what we could have done better, like during this meeting. Like, hey, we should have like used Skype instead of Slack. I don't have Slack on my phone. Stuff like that. Anything that we can say that makes the app better.
Things merged pretty well actually for some reason. Last year it wasn't, but these last couple merges were really fun. Mergers. The last thing is was agreed was just look up movies and figure out how to put it in movies. Yeah, big movies. Honestly, just like,
It's crazy. Usually when I go over there, I'm like, why is it always like night after experience? I go over there.
I was angry because very unfair functions and then what crazy filing. But honestly, I just think it's like, okay, if you look at from the work perspective, it's disrespectful, right? But then from the peer perspective, it's gonna hurt them for the
Yeah, exactly. It takes time. It takes a lot of time.
Yeah, but then it's for us.
I think that's what makes it like when we grow like that. Time is like when we go to work. Like something signings all across the world. I come up with that, you know, like yeah, like and that's human nature. Does like voice like that. You can only work 8 hours a day, so like it takes 2,000 hours. It's typically 2 years and shit. Obviously, I made up that number. You know, I don't know how.
I downloaded that.
Don't see like 10,000 email files to get the marriage and everything.
Like the, so, I wanna find out how they found that template, and, next time maybe use the better template, because well.
That's not a valid.
I've already got some functionality that I
Với lại thực sự mà nói tại vì cái project này á, cái phần mà require là làm sao động, cho nên nó là không có đi học em mới làm có cái động được không?
So it needs to be at least 100 days. Shoot 10,000 divided by
Để project nó run, cho nên là mới không cần mà cứ ví dụ như nếu mà cái phần mình require mà nó phải nó phải
yeah, so how many days is that? A year is 360 days.
chỉ là thêm gì làm thôi, cho nên là mới không có phải là
3.5 years to become pro.
That's if you do it every single day.
mình làm được hết.
I mean, I don't think that's wrong.
Còn em nói there's so much can be done là nếu mà em không
Right, right.
qua nó đúng là em sẽ không khác gì quá là em phải đi lại nó sẽ dễ hơn. Nhưng mà em nghe không? À đúng rồi, đúng rồi.
It's like when the work test is like, some say no one is like, oh, just keep going, keep going.
CS á là một cái là khi mà nếu mà học về tiếp theo là nó sẽ không có phải nó phải nhiều thứ đó đúng không? Là ví dụ như nếu mà mình hỏi về cái mà thì sẽ đủ học thời gian. User á, sẽ dĩ mà user mà mình không làm được tại vì thứ nhất em không có đặt nặng vô cái vấn đề user cho nên là khi mà user ví dụ như login khi mình login vô á, cái tên user mình lên trên cái tweet á thì cái đó chỉ là một vài dòng code nữa là xong rồi. Là tại vì ví dụ như bây giờ mình đang đặt là user một code school, ví dụ như cái mọi người login là bây giờ ví dụ như một món họ muốn làm thêm thì
Second half of the course is gonna be
đó là
raised.
muốn làm thêm một ví dụ như muốn gặp thì đúng là sẽ gặp là nhưng nếu mà cần thiết cũng là thời gian chút thật
So are you teaching
nguyên
this,
một tuần đó là
this class as a Python or is it still gonna be done?
I don't think I will. Let Charles come in here.
Oh, Charles.
Charles is personally gonna do it. Yep. He's like, Lord, I need you to be trained. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and move on. So, like, I'm sorry for like not giving you too much guidance on this, but typically during our weekly meetings, someone is going to come and complain to you. Say, why didn't we do this? Why did it take so long? Why does it not work on Android? Why does it not look this way? Why isn't it responsive? Blah, blah, blah. Okay? That person is your product owner. And you gotta make that person happy. So I'm not sure who the product owner was. I apologize. Obviously, there's always gonna be new stories that are added. Remember how I said last week that that's the reality? That like, look, you can have a list of 20 different things. If your boss comes in, tells you they want these 20 things, and the next day comes in and says, I want 10 other things instead, guess what you're gonna do? You're gonna do the 10 things that he just most recently said. Because that's how the life is. I also think you guys, as good developers, right, an important skill is that you guys should constantly be thinking about what I can do to make it better. You guys see me do that all the time, right? You guys show me we gave you some requirements, right? We gave you some requirements. You guys show me that it's done. I tell you I want more, right? I think that's a part of like the personality trait. So I'm advising you that like we should constantly be trying to think this way, okay? Like what could be better about our applications, okay? Okay, let's skip this one. I'm gonna skip this one too. I don't want to do this one. Okay, so why is this project important? This project was important because it was kind of complex. Okay, if you guys did the sign in, the sign out, the add tweets, the retweet, the like counts, the parsing of the body for the the parsing of the body for the hashtag, the filtering, the search. There's a really long list of things that was potentially done. I'm not sure. I think you guys did a lot of them. Okay, I completely forgot until I walked over there that you guys did sign in, right? You guys created additional pages, and you guys did filtering, obviously, right?
Vanilla JavaScript is JavaScript without libraries.
Vanilla JavaScript is yeah, pretty much what we just did. It's what we've been doing so far. It's not using React, not using Angular, not using Vue. It's not using any complicated framework. Yeah, and just know that this is how webs were built. Like between 10 to 15 years ago. And I don't know, some people might still have it. Do you guys remember what I said legacy code is? What's legacy code? Old code.
That works on older browsers.
It's old code that is still making money, right? The app still works. Why are we fixing it? Don't break it, don't touch it if it isn't broken, right? So sometimes depending on the company you guys work at, you may need to know how to write code like that, right? If the app works, don't touch it. It's making money, right? So that being said, the reason why we did that is because if we understand like document.getElementByID, we'll understand like what React does that helps us. Basically, if you guys like, maybe you haven't been able to step back and see what's going on. You don't have a good picture of like the pattern. But the pattern is this: we do some changes in our JavaScript, right? And then we have to tell the DOM how to render again. We have to tell it to start over. Draw it again, right? That's not what we want, basically. I'm blanking out. But we want what's called prescriptive programming, right? We want to just say, hey, here's my data. If I have data that's this long, it should look like that, right? We don't want to have to tell our UI what it should look like because that becomes unmaintainable. Yes, that's what all the JavaScript frameworks do, guys. They basically look at the state of our application. And depending on the state of our application, then our app will behave correctly.
Between a library and a framework, because React's a library, right? And like Angular is a framework.
They are more or less used interchangeably. Yeah, they're more or less. Basically, a framework is, I guess a framework you could say is like a library that is made to accomplish a specific goal. But to be honest with you, I don't see how that's different than a library, because a library like Moment.js, remember to parse our dates, take a string and turn it into something else. That's also made to produce something, right? No one makes things for free for no reason. So anyway, I would consider a library and a framework almost the exact same thing. It's almost like an argument and a parameter. It's almost exactly the same thing. Another important thing is teamwork, guys. Working with teams is hard. Sharing your code is hard. Dividing work is hard. Listening to people is hard. Okay? Sometimes I don't want to listen to people. I got too many ideas up here. But we got to do that. Okay? We can't become someone that's just unfun to work with. And lastly, we're going to understand why React is useful. Remember, guys, I told you guys that we need to start thinking about state, right? The state of our application. Once again, here's React is a JavaScript framework. It's one of many. That being said, it is the world's most popular. We can look at data to prove this. So if we look at how many downloads that React has had compared to the other ones, what do we see, guys? Yeah, React is what almost 300,000 daily downloads. Daily downloads. Whereas Angular has 50,000. That's 6 times as many.
What do you mean by daily download?
That means it means every single time they run npm install. You guys have not run that. Who here has ran npm install? Okay, so none of you guys have touched on a Node Package Manager yet, but basically you guys are going to install a tool, kind of like Git, where you run it on your command line. You do git add, blah blah blah. But obviously it's not Git. It's npm install, npm just an infinite number of things you do. npm list, npm version, blah 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 blah. This package manager, what it does is it says, hey, go give me all these files that I need from the internet and put them in this project. So you guys have access to these slides. You guys can see the data. Just know that React is hot right now. Yeah, man, it's just killing the competition. On a monthly basis, React has, 10 million downloads? The other ones combined for, I don't know, about a little over half, 6 million? Yeah. There are smaller ones. Forget about them. Okay, so here are some of the sites that are built using React. We got Facebook, Instagram, Airbnb, Netflix, WhatsApp.
Facebook made it, right?
Facebook is the people that made.
Facebook and Instagram, WhatsApp are all one company.
I know, but these are so. The main point of showing you guys this is scalable, and some of the best engineers in the world have built this for us. Okay, they got an army of people at Facebook. They just work. All they do is go to work every single day and think about how I can make React better. Okay, there's an army of engineers there. Okay, so there's some high-level concepts that we want to talk about, how React is different than what we've been doing so far. One of them is components. You guys are going to start thinking about your screen in components. What is this component? Is this for example, if we're talking about a car, is this a piston? Is this a pump? Is this a heat gauge? All these different components will have different responsibilities, okay? Some of the components that we've already worked with are nav bars, text inputs, just a bunch of them. Maybe that sidebar with the news, maybe the tweet feed, that would be a different component. And the thing about our components that we need to be mindful of is that they will all have their own state, right? Because certain things don't need to know certain things about other things. And I know that sounds really abstract. I'm sorry that's confusing, but we're gonna look at examples in just a second, okay? Oh yeah, and you guys remember how I named many of the functions render tweets, render news, whatever it was, render this or that, right? The reason why I did that is because I was trying to prepare you guys for what you're going to have to start doing. In React, every single component you have has to have one function, at least one function, and it is the render function, okay? The component has to know how to draw itself on the screen, okay? It's that simple. And with the combination of components, states, rendering, and one more props, forgot to mention props, we will no longer have to target elements on the screen. React will simply know how to render itself based on the state.
Can you explain state again in a different way?
State is just something that state is like what's going on in our application. Do I have data yet? Do I have a current user? Because think about it, whenever you're at, right, whenever we signed into the Twitter clone, right, shouldn't I see a username or my profile? Or maybe whenever I add a new add a new tweet, instead of having 3 tweets, now I have 4. So the state of our application changed, right? The first our state was 3, but then we added one tweet, then we had 4. So the state has changed.
So state is just data, right? Is it?
Yeah, it can represent data. It can represent anything. It could be where your mouse is hovering. It could be state can be anything. That's why they call it that's why they use such an abstract word, state. Don't worry, if you don't understand now, I'm going to show you an example, okay? So basically, the objective here is to go from the screen on the left to the right. The left is what we call spaghetti code. There's a little bit of code. There's something all the way over here that's touching something all the way over here, and they're not actually related to each other, right? They're not related to each other. We want to put our code that's related to itself in one file. That's the end goal, okay? We need to get all the code that's related to itself in one file so that you can have just little pieces of code. So you can imagine steak versus spaghetti. Once again, the main concepts are components, JSX, which means JavaScript, I don't remember, I can't know, JSX means what? Let me Google. JSX means what? Basically, it just means HTML. Just look at it just like HTML. JavaScript is XAML. Okay? It's just like HTML. What's the things about HTML that we remember, guys?
Element tag.
Elements have attributes. We can pass different attributes to our HTML. We can nest our HTML, right? This is things about our HTML. JSX is just like that. And also it uses CSS and Flexbox, all these things that we talked about, we're going to use. Props right here, I want you guys to think of them as arguments. Okay, they're arguments to a function. They will affect how our function behaves. Okay? And once again, render. All our functions, my bad, not all our components will have to have a render function, but they pretty much will. I'll show you guys an example. You guys won't understand. If I showed you right now what the difference is, you guys won't understand what the difference is. But just right now, just trust me, every single component needs to have a render function. Okay, so every page is made out of components, right? Here's some examples right here. Today we're building pages with h1 div input, and in the near future we're going to be building with components. Maybe tweet box, tweet button, user profile section. And this is code that you guys do not see what it does, so you do not understand. So let's keep going. So here's an illustration of what we meant. Here you guys can see the orange box is what, guys? The orange box is our app. This is the entire app. Everything has to be inside the app, right? And inside of the app, we have additional components. Maybe a comment form, maybe a comment list, maybe individual comments, okay? Do you have any questions so far? Okay, so I don't like this. We'd skip this one. So today, what are we gonna be doing? We're gonna be building a bunch of cat components, okay? A bunch of cat components, talking about cats. Who here likes cats? I got a cat outside my front house. Every single morning she comes and talks to me. I don't know why so many cats like me. I don't know. Okay, once again, we're using HTML and JSX, okay? The code you guys are going to see is called JSX.
So we should name our file JSX or JS?
Both of them will work. Both of those will work, yeah. Ultimately, JSX is JavaScript that looks sort of like HTML, okay? That's actually the main difference. It looks sort of like HTML. It follows a lot of the same rules as HTML, but it is in fact JavaScript. Long story short, long term, we're gonna need some tools that build. Like you guys have heard me say that before, make production builds, okay? We gotta run a couple processes that take all our code and change it a little bit, and then it's gonna put it all in one file, and that one file is gonna be served to the internet, okay? That's the end goal. Remember when I showed you guys applications, production applications, they don't have comments in them, they don't have spaces. All that stuff is cleansed. It's minified. Minified is the word, minified, okay? So here you guys can see an example of a component. Components are very simple. They take properties and they render them. Here's a welcome component, okay? Here's the exact syntax you guys are gonna use right here. What's this thing right here in purple?
A render function.
Yes, this function is inside of another function, okay? It's not that complicated. We just need to have a class, the name of the component, and a couple words that we've memorized. Extends react.component. We just memorize this, okay? Or you guys can download a plugin for your VS Code and it will just type it out for you. That's cool too.
What's the name of that?
I'll show you in a second. So once again, today we're gonna be focusing on props. Okay, props are probably the most important thing. I know I talked about state and component and a bunch of other things, but right now I'm gonna show you props because that's also super important. Okay, so we're gonna build a component from 2 slides ago called a welcome component. It's gonna take a property of name with a value of Loy and a property of job with a value of instructor. Okay? Once again, every single component has to have a render function. Oh, another thing too is that unlike the game where it was just constantly rendering, React is much more intelligent. It only re-renders when it has to, when there is a state change in our application. Okay, so let's get into some code. Okay, so you guys can see that today we're gonna be using JS Fiddle to play around. Here is a component. Well, that's actually a little bit more, but the only thing I want you guys to care about is, can you guys see this? How do I close this thing on the left? Can I close this? Fuck. Okay, I can't close this side, sorry. Okay, so what do we have here? We have a couple, this line right here, you guys just have to memorize, okay? Or, if you go to VS Code, I need to open up a React project. So let me go ahead and open up a React project. So if you guys look for extensions, you guys can just type in React on the internet, on your extensions, and you'll see this one right here. Any of these will work. I always just go with the ones that have the most downloads. That probably means that's good, you know? So you guys got to read the documentation, right? Yeah. 3.42 million people are using this, okay? So you guys can see right here, it works on files that end with JS, JSX, TypeScript. We're not going to study TypeScript, whatever. But here are all the shortcuts. Remember BGC, guys? BGC, background color. There's a whole bunch of other ones, okay? So for example, what was the one I just said a second ago that you need to remember? Create a functional component, I think it was. So let's go to testers, go React, create component, RCC, okay? If I do RCC and I hit enter, bam, it's done it for me. Okay, type all that for me. It even interpreted the name of the component based on the name of the file. It was smart enough to do that for me, okay? Okay, so yeah. So that's there. We're only gonna be working in this one. What does this look like here, guys?
It looks like HTML, but it's not.
Exactly. So let's just throw in some HTML to make this, to see if we can get this to work correctly. I hate this tool. I don't know why we're using it. I'm gonna give it a class. What's the class name that we want? We'll say red box, okay? Class red box. I can jump over to our CSS and simply target it, right? Background color is red. If I run it, did I say this? Ooh, I need to do something here. Hello world.
Well, I have a question.
Yes.
You just pulled up this link and then everything was in here already, right? So on the first line it says class, cat app extends React component. What does that function do?
Right now, this is using the React library to build a new class based on the body.
So you need that, otherwise it's not gonna work.
Correct. And we can create many of these. We're gonna create many of these in just a second, okay? So right now, I just created a red box. That's all we need is a red box, okay? But that's actually not that interesting, okay? What do we need to do? We're gonna build a cat app, right? Here are my cats. So I'll save it and I'll run it. We can see it. Here are my cats. So what if I wanted to have a div that had cats in it? Cats. Let's do this better. My bad. We'll make this an H1. We'll pop over here and we'll say this is my cat list. Okay. We'll save it. We'll run it. If we can see that. Fuck. Here we go. Some more. Okay. So what do we need to do now? What have we done so far in every single one of our applications? Not every single one. We're going to build a list of other things using components, okay? So what if I wanted to have a list of cats here, right? Could I just go LI right here and like, someone help me, what's the type of cat? I don't know any cat breeds. Fuck.
Oh, Persian.
Okay, Persian. Persian cat, okay? We save it, we run it. Do we have a Persian cat? Right? Okay, what if I want to add another cat, guys? Okay, we're gonna do Grumpy Cat. That sounds dope. Grumpy Cat. Okay.
Grumpy cat. It's super cute.
We have a Grumpy Cat. Okay. We'll add one more cat. Okay. What's another cat, guys?
Siamese.
I don't know how you spell that.
Right there, the fourth one.
Oh, all right, let's just do three. Okay. So you guys will see that our code is exactly the same here, guys. This is a good use of a component. Okay, this is a good use of what we should, where we should use a component, so that we don't have to repeat our code. Okay, so above this cat app component, I'm simply going to define a new component, and this is the boilerplate code right here. Okay, guys. A thing to note is that we cannot call two components by the same name. So we're going to call this one. Our cat app will render many cats, exactly. So what does every single component have to have? A render function. Okay, the render function, we can just stick it in here with the parentheses and then give it its body. Okay, so now inside of here, I'm going to return my cat. So now so let's just give this one a class of blue, okay? To prove that this is the correct one. Blue, we'll give it a height of 100 pixels, 100, my bad, 100 pixels. React, the syntax is a little bit different, okay? The syntax is a little bit different in React and CSS. So for example, if you guys write code inline, like on line 14, we have to use camel case. But if we use it in our CSS, we can use it the same way, okay? There's a couple different rules, but it's pretty much the same. So see if we can get this to be 100 pixels. We save it and we run it. And why do we not see a blue cat here? Why do we not see blue cat? The reason why we do not see the blue cat is because we have not rendered it yet. We need to draw it on the screen. So how can we do that? You can think of defining a component as almost like defining a brand new HTML element. So I'm going to copy cat right here, right? I'm going to go down to my cat app, and I'm going to create the component. So let's run it. And now we see that we have a blue cat. You guys see what we did right there? Okay? It's almost like we built a brand new HTML element. You can think of it that way. So do you remember how a second ago, how I said that every single component, right, behaves like a function because it is in fact a function? Well, we can pass it properties so that it can do things multiple times, or so that it can behave differently based on the properties. Based on the properties. So what does that mean? The objective here is to delete these right here, right? We need to delete these cats and render this right here. Come on. 3 cats. Blue cat, blue cat, blue cat. But how can we get these components to behave differently based on what cat it is? What type of cat? Because what type of cats did we have, guys? We had I forgot which ones we had. We had a Persian, a Siamese, and a Grumpy cat, right? So how can I make the top one a grumpy cat? Well, this is where we come in with props, okay? So we're gonna pass it a property called cat name. We're gonna call this one grumpy, okay? This is just an argument to a function. That's all it is, an argument to a function. So what's going to happen with this string right here, grumpy, that goes inside the attribute cat name? Well, that's going to be passed to the cat component as an argument. Yeah, exactly. Except the argument is not going to be called an argument. It's going to be called a prop. That's all it is. It's going to be called a prop. So where can we access it? Where can we access this prop? So this is some of the part of programming that we just simply memorize, okay? When we pass any property to a component, we can access it through this magical object called this. And on this, there's a magical property called props. And then inside of this props, we can access any property that we pass to this component, okay? What is the one property that we pass to this component? So I copy this cat name, paste it right here, we run it, and I think we got an error somewhere. Oh yeah, it is. That's a grumpy. My bad. My bad. I kind of tripped out. This thing was throwing me off. Okay, so what's the problem we have now, guys? It didn't. It's the fact it did not erase the other two. The problem is what? We didn't pass the other two cats their names. We didn't tell them their names. So you can imagine this as like being like calling a function and we didn't pass it a property. Let me show you what I mean. So I'm saying, so imagine I had a function, I don't know, what do you call, what's a function? Impress girlfriend, okay? The function, when I call it, all we're gonna do is console log GIF, okay? And then we'll say Loy bought girlfriend a GIF, okay? So if I call this function and I pass it an argument of, I don't know, flowers, right? Do we see this printed correctly? Yes, we do. But what if we call it and we don't pass it anything? It just didn't do anything, right? It was a silent failure. The function didn't throw an error, but it didn't behave the way we expected, right? So that's the same thing as what happened right here. On line 18, we render our cat component, right? We pass it a property called cat name. When this property is passed to our cat component, it's inside of this right here. This has to be memorized, guys. This.props, okay? It's always inside of there when we pass it as a property.
Hold up. So it's always this prop.
This.props, correct.
So like this because it knows you're referring to cat.
So the issue here is this is going to be different depending on where you console log it. So if I console log this right here, this is not the same thing as this inside of our cat app. These are two different components, okay? Like it's kind of abstract. So let's run it. Let's look at our console. I hope I can look at this. Fuck, man. How do I close this shit? God damn it. So we see that we console log twice, right? On line 14, we had a this in the cat app, right? This, so let's just say line 14, so we cannot confuse ourselves. 14, and then one more on line 3, right? 3. We run it, and we can see. What? Did I not save it? Okay, we get the numbers right here. So we can see that the cat app component rendered one time, right? And what is this, right? Number 3 right here, or my bad. Number 14, we console log this. What is this on line 14? Exactly. This is the component, this component. On line 14, what component are we inside of? Exactly, we're inside of cat app. So on line 3, when we console log cat this, what do we see? So what? Yes, this refers to this component, like me, myself. This for me is not the same thing as you. If I say, hey, who am I? And I ask that to myself, obviously I'm Lloyd. But if you ask that question, who am I? You say Sean, right? Okay, so trying to go real slow here. Does anyone have questions? Spent a lot of time talking. Anyone have questions?
Can you click the settings and see if there's a different view? Yeah, click on marketing.
I wish I could hide this thing on the left, man. What the fuck? I feel like it's got to be a way.
The settings, what's in the top part? Do right results. Now it's gonna have a side.
Whatever, just look at the React. That's cool. Oh shit! Where'd the other component I wrote go? What? Fuck! I just deleted the component. God damn it!
Can you undo the same way you do in React as you do in JavaScript?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Like, just go back?
No, I pressed it. Now I can't do Command Z. Okay, whatever. All right, we got this, man. We know code. We can do this. Background color is blue. I don't know, do red, okay? So, sorry, I gotta do this again, okay? We define remember, we just memorized this line. It's 1 and 2, okay? Class, the name of the component extends react.component. We gotta memorize that, okay? And then it becomes, there's an opening curly brace, a closing curly brace. The next step is we need to have a render function, okay? We need to have a render function. And this function needs to return valid JSX, okay? It has to return a valid JSX. So we're gonna do a div, say class is blue, right? Class is blue, and we say, when we render a cat, what do we want to render, guys? How are the cats different? How are they different? What do we want to render? Name. This dot pops that cat name. Okay? So what are we gonna do here? So inside of our cat app, all we gotta do is render our component. We just gotta render it kind of like the way we do HTML, okay? And if a component does not have children, you can use two syntaxes, okay? This is one, and this is one. They both will work, okay? So now what is the last step that we need to do?
Render.
We need to pass it its argument. Remember we just did this right here? We need to pass it its argument. It can fail silently if we do not pass it. So we're gonna pass each cat its name. We got a grumpy cat. Grumpy. We got a, what other cat again? Persian? Persian. Right? If we run it, oops, okay, I knew there was a problem there. Thank you. We run it, we see a grumpy and a Persian cat. Nice. So, okay, let's think of something more interesting, okay? What's more interesting?
So if you put on line 17, if you put a text in the between of it
Yeah.
show up.
Not yet, because we didn't. There's another step, okay? There's something we have to render this dot pops dot children. So this dot pops is something super magical, okay? This dot pops dot children. We do this right here. Now it will render. There we go. So
Can you change the background color? Because it's hard to read
okay.
yellow.
Let's just do border radius ds 1 pixel solid gray. We'll run this, and there we go. So why are we doing this, okay? Well, the reason why we're doing this is because our cat components are super simple right now, but as you guys have seen, when we start building really complicated UIs, these components actually get very difficult. They get really long. What was some of the things that we did this weekend that was super long? The tweets. Each tweet has a bunch of HTML. It had a bunch of different properties. It had a bunch of different things that would dictate how it would behave on the screen, right? And behavior could be something as simple as color. It can be name. It can be proportions. It could be an infinite number of things. So right now we only have a cat name, right? Let's give it an ability. Okay. My ability is what? What does a grumpy cat do? What's it really good at? Being unimpressed. Grumpy cat is really good at being unimpressed. That's its special ability, okay? What's the ability of a Persian cat? I don't know. What does a Persian cat do? I hate this lab. Mouse. Fine, being cute. Being cute. Okay, so what's the next step? We had a moment ago what? We had one property that we looked at. So what do we want to do now? Yeah, now we should look at its ability. Right, so now if we run, so Grumpy Cat is really good at being unimpressed. And the Persian cat is good at being cute. And how is this, why are these components different, guys? Why are they behaving differently? It's the exact same cat component, right? But why does one cat component say grumpy and one cat component say Persian? It becomes from the properties, okay? Properties are just like arguments to a function, okay? If I want both these cats to have the same name, what line of code do I change? What do I change line 17 to? Exactly. That's all I need to do. Very simple. Okay? The property that we pass to our components will behave exactly like functions or arguments to a function. So our cat name, if we wanted to have 3, a Persian. Okay, let's do one more cat. And then I'm gonna look at the instructions because I can't think of anything else interesting right now. I don't know why I'm having a brain fart right now. What was it again? Siamese? Siamese. Okay. I think I got a problem. Yeah. Is this gonna work? Okay, we got an error somewhere.
Doesn't it say 6?
You have an extra div?
I think I had an extra div, yeah. Okay, so we got 3 cats. But I don't want them all to be the same, okay? What's the Siamese cat good at?
Being hairless.
Being hairless. Okay, sweet. Being naked. It's better. Okay, so we got 3 different components. So just think about this, guys. Remember, guys, these components right now, like, they're very simple, okay? We're just passing them 2 properties each. And depending on these properties, these components do different things, okay? Right now, we're just looking at strings. Do you remember in our tweets how a string could dictate our behavior? You guys both did this. You guys, both teams did this. Or the string dictated the behavior of our component.
With the add and the hash.
Yes, with the @ and the hashtag. When we looked at the string, we said, hey man, does this string start with an @? If it starts with an @ what do I want to do? I want to add a anchor tag to it. If it starts with a hashtag, I also want to add a anchor to it. And specifically for the anchor, I don't know if you guys did for both of these. I also want to add an event listener. If I click it, I want to sort all my tweets, right? So think about it, all those words were the same, but we wanted them to behave a little bit differently depending on a certain value, right? Depending on the value of the first character of that word, right? Right, guys? Does that make sense? Does that make sense, everyone? Okay, so now let's go ahead and move on. So we got, all right, cat app. We gave it a special ability. Okay, one more thing. Let's give it a color, okay? So imagine, what color is a grumpy cat?
White?
No, is it white? Grumpy cat?
I think it's white.
There's a bunch of them.
It's a black.
I would say like black, brown, and white, okay? Whatever, let's just gonna choose one. We're just gonna go with one, okay? So we're gonna give it color of white. Brown, fuck it, we'll do brown. Okay. Okay, what color is a brown or a Persian cat? Persian cat. Morning. Okay, this one's white. Okay, Siamese is pink. Okay, so our grumpy cat is brown. Our Persian cat is white. Keep doing that. Come on, is white. And our Siamese cat is nude. I'm gonna do a pink because I'm gonna show you something with colors, okay? Okay. So what's particularly what's funny about this? So now that we added an additional property, what can we do up here to be more interesting, guys? We can just apply a style, right? We can say, hey style. And the syntax here is also a little bit different, okay? Oh, wait a minute, class, is this class name right here? I forgot. Is it? I forgot.
But it still work, right?
No, I fucked up right here because I need to delete this. Hold on. I need this to work. Okay, here we are. All right, so let's go ahead and give it a little bit of styling. I'm sorry, let me go ahead and do this. We're gonna say, hey, blue is Why is this working? Did I not save this? Why is this not blue? Oh, because I gave it a wrong name. There we go. Okay, guys, bear with me. I'm sorry. We're almost done. Okay, we're almost done. So now we're gonna say, hey, style. If the cat, I'll show you the better way of doing this actually. Fuck, I do right here. Background color is I heard it. Who said it? Color. Because we just passed the color, right, guys? And remember, so once again, right here, like the syntax is a little bit different in React. If we use styling in line like this on the same line of the component, we have to use camel case. Okay. So if I run it, I expect us to have 3 different colors right here. And bam, we do have, in fact, have 3 different background colors based on the property that we pass to our component, okay? So hold on, let me make this a little bit higher. Height is 100 pixels. We run it. So does that make sense? Guys, we have any questions? This formatting, I'm sorry, I can't fix this formatting, guys.
Scroll up. Why does the style need 2 brackets?
So right now, the property, so this is what? This is an attribute, okay? The value of the style attribute is an object. This is an object. Yes, exactly, it's an object. We have to put objects in brackets, okay? What is this right here? What is const hello equals this? What is hello? Const person is, what is person? Exactly. Okay. So the value of the style attribute within React is of the style attribute is a object. Okay. Okay. I know you guys are gonna make a mistake here. Don't worry. It's okay. We're gonna forget. It's part of life. So we're gonna save it. We're gonna run it, and we can see that once again our cats are different. They're different based on the properties that we sent in. They're different based on the properties we sent in on our cat component. Our cat component is a generic cat. Okay, all cats. So basically, inside of our attribute, inside of our cat component here, this is where we would write code that is applicable to every single cat. Okay, what is every single cat gonna have? But the name can be different, right? Right. Let's just say every single cat has to have 4 legs, right? Right. Don't all cats have 4 legs? So this is where we could hard code this. And I have 4 legs. So if we run it, we can see that we write this I have 4 legs one time, right? Because this logic, right, of every cat having 4 legs is applicable to all cats. Should I send this in as a property? Doesn't make sense, right? We're just repeating ourselves, right? So at this point, this is where I say, okay, so this is how we can almost like sequester our code. We want to break up our code into pieces that make sense. We do not need to be telling a cat that it has 4 legs. Cats already have 4 legs. It's understood. And right now, this is a stupid example, right? But remember, this is applying to what we've done so far with tweets and with to-do lists and et cetera, and et cetera, and et cetera, and all the different apps that we're going to be working on. Okay, guys? All right, so do you have any more questions?
Can we take a look at the code again, and then can you make it so that we can see all of them at the same time?
Oh, god damn, yo. Holy fuck. Okay, so we got, here's damn, I fucking hate this shit. Obviously, let's just do one more for the hell of it, okay? Let's just say our grumpy cat was our fattest cat, okay? Let's just say it's fattest, okay? Or fatness. we'll say 100. Okay, and then we'll say fatness to our other cats as well. Okay,
Isn't it like,
and we'll say this one is 200 fatness. Okay, and the last cat we're gonna say fatness is 300. So what can we do here, guys? We can also just look at this one as well. We can say width is equal to this dot props dot fatness. Okay, so if we run it, did I save it? Did we run it? Did I not save this?
Each one would have to be in their own brackets.
No, that's one object. An object can have many keys, right?
We change the CSS.
Hmm. I expect this Y to be some of them to be shorter.
Oh, yeah, you have to give it a unit size.
Okay, so the problem is I passed in the wrong data type. So the width should be a value of a digit, of a integer. My bad. Run it. There we go. Okay. So a property can pass. You can pass properties of any data type. It could be a string. It could be an object. It could be a function. Anything can be passed as a property. Okay. Remember, just like when we call our functions, right? Remember our functions. What can we pass to our functions? Strings, objects, arrays, integers, an endless number of things. You can pass some dates. Fuck that white cat. Just saying he's blue, okay? And there we go. We can see that we have three different cats. They all behave differently based on a couple of values, guys. What are the values? Based on a couple properties. The cat name.
Like unit to go by.
What'd you say?
What's 100 what?
100. This is 100 pixels.
Just go to a pixel automatically. Could you set that different?
Yes, you could. So we could also do, I don't know, like 100%. I think this would also work. Also works. We could also do 100 view width. Guys, this takes practice, okay? It takes practice and reading of the documentation. I could literally just sit here and show you every single attribute and every property that I know over the next hour, and I guarantee you, an hour later, no one here remembers all the properties that I showed you guys. Okay, this takes practice. You guys need to practice with this, just like we did with HTML. And that's why over the course of the next 3 weeks, we're gonna be spending all our time using React and dealing with these concepts. Okay, components and properties and state and etc. Okay, so today we're not gonna talk about state. I know, Kung, that you said that you want to talk about it. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Okay, we want to build these cat apps today. Okay, and we got to build this using components, okay? Using React. Guys, all of you use this right here, JS Fiddle, okay? I've been talking for a while. Go ahead and, any more questions?
On line 5, what does it do?
Line 5,
Yeah,
class name?
that could be class.
So this is just like a class. In React, so in HTML, we call this class. But in React, we call it class name. So watch this. Pick a color, Kung. You pick a color?
Oh, white, okay, got it.
Yeah, it's just the names were clashing. They said that, okay, from now on, in HTML it's called class, and in JSX it's called class name. Okay. Okay? All right, guys, so read the lab. We got to build a bunch of cats, okay? You guys don't have images and stuff.